came up to my window. He says, "Do you know how fast I clocked you?" I says, "No, sir." He says, 182. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." So it's 2019, and my goal that year was to do one of the premier rallies in the U.S. So I really want to go on some routes that I haven't been on. So I decided to sign up for GoldRush 11, and it went from Florida all the way out to the West Coast. Started in Miami. The next stop was Amelia Island, and Amelia Island to Atlanta. So I had just bought this Porsche 911 Turbo S. It was already modified the way I wanted it. We added methanol injection to it, lightened the car up a lot, took the passenger seat out. Passenger seat was 85 pounds. Altogether, we took 300 pounds out of that already great car. And then we wrapped it. I want to do something crazy. I never thought I'd be a car wrap guy, but a lot of the GoldRush guys, they do like these really cool wraps and what have you. I've always loved Hot Wheels and Ken Block and anything going on with those guys. So I remember a commercial, I think it was in a Ford Focus, and it had this cool Hot Wheels wrap on it. It was called the vertical wall slide, which, through the beauty of television, he would go up on the red ramp to a vertical wall, drift it, and come back down. So I really liked the wrap that he did. It had flames and skulls and Hot Wheels on it. Like, who doesn't like that, right? So wrapped the car in that, signed up to do it. And then we went to, the first stop was Miami. We were there. And that night we had to do, there was a nightclub you had to go to. And I didn't bring any long pants. I don't go to nightclubs typically, so I didn't think about it. So my buddy was there. Frankie met me there. He brought some race fuel for me. So I wanted to start out with a fuel tank of race fuel, then, change the map as we went on the trip. We got a cab to go out to go get some pants. We got the pants, but we got back to the hotel. I left my phone in the car, in the cab, in the Uber. So I'm like, all right, I'm going from one side of the country to the other. I got no phone. What am I going to do? So Frankie tried to find the guy, tracked the guy down. My wife tried to, contact the guy. So comes the next morning, we have to start this rally. So I start this rally. I don't know anybody on the rally. I don't have a cell phone. So I'm like, who really cares, right? I'm here to drive the car and have fun. And I was so pumped up to do this rally. I was just like, I don't care what happened. I was ready to go. So the first day we're going to Amelia Island. We had a fun drive. Everything was great. Went there, great hotels, what have you. The next morning we wake up, we're going from Amelia Island to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm stoked again, really excited. I got the car full of race fuel. I'm ready to roll. So that day we're driving to North Florida, and I get pulled over by this cop, and I'm like, how did that happen, man? I can't believe it, because I didn't see him. So this car had a built-in K40 laser jammer system, radar detection system built into the car, which was, a huge benefit to me. So I'm like, how did that happen? I didn't really think about it. So the officer comes up and he says, "Hey, we just got some calls. I just pulled you over because, we got a lot of calls. I figured I'd pull one guy over, then maybe, slow the whole car ended up being really cool. I always carry Hot Wheels with me. So I gave him some Hot Wheels for him. And, there's a lot of interactions with police are pretty cool and positive. And this was by far, a really, really good one. He says, "Hey, slow down, let the guys know, what have you." So I got back on the road. So at that point, I'm kind of separated. The group kind of breaks up along the way. I'm in Georgia at this point. Man, I was really crazy at this time. But I'm like, all right, I want to do a 200-mile-an-hour run on the highway with, during this rally. So I see these SVJs and everything coming up behind me. And I knew it was some of the guys that were running a little faster. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So I hit it, and I look in the rearview mirrors, and none of these guys were coming with me. I'm like, what's up? Then I see some blue lights behind me, and I'm like, holy crap, like, what's going on here? Why didn't I pick this up on my radar system? But one of the guys did have some lights on his car, so maybe that was what it was. So I slowed down a little bit, and it was Georgia State Patrol, the GSP, and I'm like, man, I'm screwed. So he pulled me over. He was not real happy. Came up to my window. He says, "Do you know how fast I clocked you?" I said, "No, sir." He says, 182. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." I wasn't laughing at the time. I says, "Officer, I'm really sorry. Um, I'm on a this is a bucket list item for me. I'm on a charity car rally. We're going from here to West Coast. I'm really sorry." I said, and I knew at that point I was going to jail, right? So I said, "I know I'm going to jail, but can I please keep my car and the keys so that I can continue on after I get out of jail?" And he just walked away. And he comes back a little while later while I'm sitting in my car, and he says, if you were a county over, this thing would be impounded for 30 days automatically." I just kept apologizing and saying, "I'm really sorry. Can I keep the keys? Can I just keep the car?" Finally, he says, "Listen, you can leave the car right here. It was on the side of the road in this deep grass." And he said, "But I'm not responsible for it." I said, "Well, no problem. Who's going to steal a car, you know, a newer Porsche Turbo on the side of the road?" In my mind, I'm thinking nobody's going to steal it, right? So by this time, he puts me in the squad car. Now, I don't know if the back of police cars have a separate AC system than the rest of the car, but I'm pretty sure it does because he turned it off. And I sweated my butt off in that car. But I didn't say anything. I just sat there. I kind of knew, he was just letting me have it, and I, just kind of took it. But man, I was sweating bullets. I thought I was going to die because I'm a little claustrophobic anyway. So if you've ever been back of a squad car with the cuffs behind you, it's not fun at all. So finally, he does his paperwork. We get going. Lets me keep my keys, and takes me. I'm watching while he's driving. He takes me to jail. All of a sudden, he pulls down this dirt road, and I'm like, I was feeling really unsafe at this time. But sure enough, the jail was on an old dirt road, like in the woods in South Georgia, and I'm like, "Oh man, this is not going to be good." But they booked me in, and they actually let me keep my keys in my pocket, which I'm really surprised. But I'm thankful that he did. Posted a $600 cash bond, and at this time, I don't have my cell phone. Nobody on this rally knows who I am. I have no way to get in touch with anybody, right? So I find out later that Randy from Savage Garage, who was with Alex Troy, they heard over the radios that some guy named Jimmy had got arrested. They thought my name was Jimmy at the time. So they decided they were doing their YouTube stuff, and they decided to go down there and bail me out. They thought it would be some good content. At this point, I barely knew who these guys were. Who Alex Troy was, who Randy was, and that whole world of social media, right? So, but I was actually only in jail for 23 minutes before they bailed me out, and 23 happens to be my favorite number. 23 minutes. I only had $300 cash on me. That's a good thing to remember. I probably have $1,000 cash on you just in case you get arrested. But so they came up, paid the $600, got me out, and put me in one of their Lamborghini Urus they had, and took me back to the car to pick it up. So I get in the car, it wouldn't start because once it sits for a while with that methanol, it's hard to start. But like 10 minutes later, we got the car started. So I was going to follow them in the Urus, to try to catch up with the group eventually up the road. But they were long gone at that point. We're just going to have a good drive. 10 minutes later, we both got pulled over again in Georgia by this cop. He said he was across the highway in a rest stop and saw us flying by. He said he got us both at 91. No, I'll bet on a stack of Bibles we were not doing 91 because I just had been incarcerated in probably the worst jail in America. And I was definitely not going 91. So I never question police, whatever it is, I'll take your word for it. But I asked the guy, I says, when's the last time you calibrated your radar gun? He says, "Son, if the space shuttle went off in Florida, I could tell you how fast it was going." So I was like, "Yes, sir." I'm laughing inside, but I'm not gonna be disrespectful. So he wrote us both a ticket. We get back on the road, then we eventually get to Atlanta, which was our next stop. So it was a pretty eventful day. I had to come back to court in 30 days. I hired a local attorney there to help me out. He said, "I'll do the best I can for you. The best thing we can do is plead this thing out, volunteer to do all this, but you're definitely going to get jail time." Okay. I've never been in jail before. I just I'm the kind of person I'm just going to roll with it, see what happens. So we went up there before the judge, and we pled all this, what we're willing to do. But when it came down to the judge, he expanded all that. So basically, I got 5 days in jail, $4,500 fine, year probation, defensive driving school. I think that was about it. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to roll with it. And so finally the judge says, so Mr. Lockhart, do you have anything to say for yourself? This was after he already, sentenced me. And I looked over my attorney, like, should I say anything? And so I wanted to be as authentic and truthful as possible. And I said, Your Honor, I said, I'm sorry, but I just up and I just didn't, obey the speed limit that day. And all broke loose in the court because I said the F word. And if you know me, I rarely cuss, especially, the F word. So he added 2 more days on to my jail time. And I'm like, Jesus, man. I don't even know where that came from. I was trying to be like, really, this is what happened. And it just came out. But man, so don't ever say any curse words in court, especially in Georgia. So he gave me 2 more days. I got 7 days in jail. I didn't really think about it, but you go off to the side, you sit back here if you're going to jail, and then once they're done with the proceedings, they take you to jail right away. I get there, they process me in, they give me a little cell. It was hot in there. First 2 days, it was horrible. I mean, they toilets in the corner of the room. The food obviously was just terrible, and it's really hot in there. I'm sweating like the whole time, and you're laying on this like concrete bed. 2 days, first 48 hours, okay, I'm gonna get through this, right? And then all of a sudden, I get a roommate, and this guy he was a crack addict that probably should have been in the hospital instead of there, and he was scary, the scariest person I've ever met in my life, and so basically, I barely slept for the rest of the time, and just tried not to get killed, but. Yeah, so I learned my lesson, man. You really 200 miles an hour is for runways, not on public roads. And I didn't realize that my K40 radar system was not working properly. So now I always have 2 radar detectors just in case.
The Ticket Clinic is the perfect partner in your fight against any ticket anywhere you get it. Their nationwide network of attorneys can get on the job as soon as you text them a picture of your ticket to 305-305. You can also visit them at the link in the description below, but it's so important that you fight every one of these tickets because they can help you avoid points on your license, risk of suspension, fines, possible prison time, everything that goes with a bad ticket or even a not very bad ticket because they can keep it from showing up on your insurance and things like that. So check out the Ticket Clinic now at the link in the description below or text your ticket to 305-305.